I 25 female, my girlfriend 24 female faked her best friend's suicide, who turned out to be her ex, lied about everything from her family to her past, cheated, gaslit, threatened to out me, and now I'm too terrified to leave her even though I don't even know who I've been dating anymore. When my girlfriend female and I 25 female first met, everything felt effortless. We met online, and within a few weeks of talking, it was like we'd known each other for years. She was funny, spontaneous, always up for an adventure. We'd stay up late talking about everything, dreams, fears, the stupid little things that make life feel big. I really thought I'd found my person. But a few months in, something shifted. One night, completely out of nowhere, she exploded at me. She screamed until her voice cracked, called me names I never thought I'd hear from someone who claimed to love me. I remember sitting there frozen, trying to process how we'd gone from laughing to fighting in the span of seconds. I went to her house because I didn't know what else to do. I thought maybe if I saw her in person, I could calm her down, explain that I wasn't her enemy. But when I showed up, it only made things worse. She accused me of pitying her, said I didn't understand her pain. The next day, she told me it had been her best friend's death anniversary, that her friend had died by suicide. I felt awful. My own best friend had taken her life in 2020, and that grief still lived inside me like an open wound. I knew what it meant to lose someone that way. The guilt, the what-ifs, the nightmares. So I told myself her outburst wasn't her fault. She was hurting, and I could be patient. I wanted to be the person who stayed when others hadn't. But after that night, the outbursts never stopped. They became part of our relationship. It was like walking through a minefield every day. I never knew what would set her off. A missed text, a change in tone, even something as small as me sighing could trigger hours of screaming. She'd twist my words, accuse me of things I hadn't done, and somehow everything became my fault. She'd say things that cut deeper than she realized, or maybe she did realize. You don't care about me. You're selfish. You make me feel like I should just disappear. I started apologizing for everything, even when I didn't know what I'd done. I thought if I just tried harder, she'd stop seeing me as someone who hurt her. Then January came, and everything broke. We were on the phone, and she was in one of her moods, yelling, crying, saying things that made my chest ache. I tried to calm her down, to remind her I loved her, but it only seemed to make her angrier. And then she said it. "You're going to end up like my friend," she screamed, because we had this exact conversation before she killed herself. It felt like the air got punched out of my lungs. I was already hanging by a thread, already struggling with my own mental health, and hearing that from her, hearing her weaponize suicide, knowing how close that pain hits, it destroyed something inside me. I remember my hands shaking. My chest hurt. I couldn't breathe. I threw my phone at the floor, hard enough to shatter the screen. I just needed the noise to stop, needed her voice to stop echoing in my head. It wasn't the first time, either. I've broken or replaced my phone 5 times this year because of moments like that. Because every fight feels like the end of the world, and I can't find another way to make it stop. After that January breakdown, things between us never went back to normal, if they ever truly were. Everything I said, everything I did, felt like walking on glass. I couldn't breathe without wondering if she'd explode again. Still, I kept trying. I kept telling myself that love was supposed to be hard, that trauma made people act out, that if I just held on long enough, she'd heal. But then came the night I tried to leave her. I had been thinking about it for weeks. I couldn't take the constant screaming, the accusations, the way she twisted my words until I questioned my own sanity. That day, my mom happened to be at my apartment. She doesn't know I'm gay, so even having my girlfriend over had always been a careful dance. I waited until my mom went to bed, then quietly told my girlfriend we needed to talk. At first, she was silent. Then she broke down. She started crying, shaking, begging me not to do this. When I tried to explain, she cut me off and screamed, "If you leave me, I'll kill myself. I'll do it the second you walk out that door." My stomach dropped. I'd heard her make threats before, but something in her voice that night made me believe she meant it. I didn't know what to do. My mom was in the next room, completely unaware of the chaos unraveling just feet away. I couldn't let her find out, not like this. My hands were shaking when I dialed the police. I just wanted someone to help, someone who could stop her before she hurt herself. When she realized I'd called them, she snapped. She lunged at me, grabbed my throat, and squeezed. I couldn't breathe, couldn't think, couldn't move. Her face was twisted with rage and fear and something unrecognizable. When she finally let go, I stumbled back, gasping, terrified and ashamed. The officers came soon after. She calmed down just enough to make it seem like I'd overreacted. After that night, I stopped trying to leave. I know how that sounds, weak, maybe stupid, but when you've been broken down long enough, fear starts to look like loyalty. She told me if I ever left her again, she'd out me to my family, to my job, to everyone. She said she'd ruin my life. And the worst part? I believed her. The lies started small, almost harmless. She'd forget things she said, twist stories to make herself the victim. But I have a good memory. I remember details, the way someone phrases things, the timing, the tone. So when things didn't add up, I noticed. The festival incident was the turning point. We'd gone with a group of friends, and after, we all went out to eat. In the middle of dinner, she got a phone call. She glanced at the screen, then answered, smiling nervously. "It's my cousin," she said. Something about her tone set off an alarm in my head. I didn't want to start a fight in public, so I let it go for the moment. The next day, my phone had died at the festival, so I'd taken photos with hers. She handed me her phone later to airdrop them, and there it was, her ex's name at the top of her recent chats. On iPhones, when you try to share something, your most recent contacts pop up. I froze. I knew if I didn't document it, she'd gaslight me later. So, I quickly snapped a picture with my own phone. Then I checked WhatsApp. The chat was archived, but not gone. It wasn't long, just a few messages, but enough. Her ex had called her during dinner. The last thing my girlfriend had texted was, "Wrong time to call. She's right next to me." My chest felt cold. I didn't even feel anger at first, just disbelief. When I confronted her, she went ballistic. She grabbed her phone out of my hands and screamed at me for snooping, like I was the one who betrayed her. I reminded her that she'd gone through my phone countless times, even accusing me of cheating because I liked a coworker's post. She didn't care. That night, I asked to see the chat again, to talk calmly about it. She refused. "You had your chance earlier," she said, eyes burning, and right there, without breaking eye contact, she deleted the entire chat in front of me, like it was proof that never existed. Over time, the cracks in her stories started to widen. Things that once seemed strange but harmless began to reveal patterns, lies layered over more lies, each one meant to control the narrative. It started with her family. She told me the man she lived with wasn't her real father, that her biological dad was some rich guy living in another city who secretly sent her money. It sounded dramatic, but she said it with such conviction that I believed her. Then one day, in a casual conversation, one of her relatives mentioned her dad by name, the same man she claimed wasn't really her father. When I gently brought it up, she got angry, accused me of not trusting her, and said her family was lying to protect their image. But later, I found out through her cousin that the story was completely false. There was no secret rich father. She'd also told me her parents knew she was gay and were supportive of it. I thought that was brave, especially in a culture where coming out isn't easy. But then I overheard a phone call once, her mom asking if she was still seeing that boy. Not only did her parents not know she was gay, she had clearly been lying to me about it from the beginning. Then came the lie that made me lose trust completely. She told me one night, out of nowhere, that my friend from work had raped one of her friends at a party. I was horrified. I cut that friend off immediately, stopped speaking to him, refused to even look at him at work. But as time went on, her story kept changing. The date shifted, the place was different every time she told it. She said she'd recognized his car that night and remembered his license plate, but that was impossible because he didn't even own that car back then. When I confronted her, she brushed it off and said, "You're defending a rapist." The worst part, the part that made me realize how twisted things really were, came during one of her late-night confessions. We were sitting in my car after a fight, and she suddenly said she had something dark to admit. Then, almost casually, she told me that she once raped one of her ex-situationships. She said it like she was testing me, watching how I'd react. I froze. My stomach turned. I didn't even know how to respond. When I said that what she did was wrong, that it was rape, she got defensive. She said she wasn't doing well back then, and that I was judging her for something she couldn't control. And now for the thing that's completely destroyed me. Remember her best friend, the one she said died by suicide? The one whose death she used to explain her first explosive breakdown. The one I grieved with her over. The one she got a tattoo for?
She's not dead.
She's alive. And she wasn't just a friend. She was her ex. I found out last night, and I have proof. I saw the ex's social media. She's alive and well, living her life, posting just days ago. My girlfriend has spent the last year pretending this woman was gone, crying over her death, lighting candles, posting cryptic things online about loss and grief. She even showed me fake texts with this girl's parents, saying she'd gone to visit the grave. She'd come home crying, telling me how hard it was to see the headstone, how someone had vandalized it. She even claimed she'd seen the CCTV footage of the ex's other ex defacing the grave, full-on details, stories, emotions, tears.
It was all a lie.
She comforted me about my own best friend's death, the real one, the one I still struggle to talk about, knowing full well she was lying about hers. I'd sit with her, hold her hand, and try to soothe her when she said she missed her friend. I'd text her reminders to eat on the death anniversary. I even offered to go with her to visit the grave once. She said no, she wanted to go alone. Now I know why. She talked about that ex constantly. To me, to our friends, to anyone who would listen. It was obsessive. I had to ask her to stop bringing her up because it was getting embarrassing. She'd compare me to her, talk about how much she loved her, how nobody understood her like she did. I thought it was grief. It was actually obsession and manipulation. But the part that really broke me was realizing how deeply she weaponized that lie. During one of our worst fights, she screamed at me, "Is this how you talked to your friend before she died?" That sentence gutted me. It's haunted me for months. The guilt, the flashbacks, the shame. I cried over that line. I believed it came from a place of trauma. Now, knowing that her dead friend is alive, it makes me sick. She used my grief, something sacred, to control me. I don't even know what to feel anymore. Betrayed doesn't cover it. Disgusted, violated, broken. None of those words feel big enough. It's like every memory I have with her has been rewritten overnight. I don't know who she really is. I don't think I ever did. We've been on a break for the past 2 weeks, but somehow we're still tangled up in each other. We text every day, even though I know I shouldn't. I keep hoping that maybe, just maybe, something will make sense, that I'll find the version of her I first met. But last night shattered that last bit of hope I had left. She told me she had a work dinner and that her cousins were tagging along. My gut immediately twisted. That quiet voice I've learned not to ignore whispered that something was off, and it was right. I checked her social media, and something didn't add up. She wasn't with her cousins. Later, when I asked her where she really was, she brushed it off, all calm and casual, like I was being paranoid again. When I pushed a little more, she said, "If you don't believe me, text my cousin."
So I did.
And her cousin told me she wasn't with her. My stomach dropped. I confronted her, and at first she denied it. Then, when she realized I had proof, she admitted it, but somehow made it my fault. She said she lied because she didn't want me to ruin her night. Like my mere existence is a threat to her fun. Like being honest with me is too much to ask. When I refused to let her spin it around this time, she started calling me crazy, jealous, controlling, all the things she always calls me when she's caught. Then came the threats. She said she was going to show up at my place at 2 a.m. because her friends wanted to meet me. That's her favorite move, intimidation disguised as spontaneity. I told her not to come. I turned off my phone, but I barely slept, terrified she'd actually show up. And look, I know I'm not perfect. I've been jealous before. I've been anxious, clingy even, not because I want to control her, but because I've been trying to hold on to something that's been slipping away for months. I've questioned her too much, and I hate that version of myself. But I've always been honest. I've always been loyal. I've never lied to her, never screamed at her, never called her names. I've spent a year trying to understand her, trying to be gentle, trying to make things work. And all she's done is lie, manipulate, threaten, and gaslight me until I don't even trust my own memory anymore. The worst part is, I'm still scared to end it. Every time I try, she threatens to kill herself or says she'll out me to my family. I'm terrified she'll actually do something, to herself or to me. I feel trapped. I love her, or at least I love who I thought she was, but I can't keep living like this. I wake up every day feeling like I'm walking on broken glass, waiting for the next explosion, the next lie, the next threat. I don't even know who I've been dating. Every story she's ever told me feels like a script, a performance that I fell for completely. What should I do? Every kind of advice is welcomed, please do.